Hello and welcome to Rathod's IAS. I am Ushasri, Current Affairs faculty from Rathod's IAS. So today in this video, we are going to see current affairs of 10th July 2023. So how this video it is going to be. So first you need to know, so what are the contents that we are going to discuss so that you can understand, so which comes first. So first of all, we are going to see the important topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture, and I will be going to give a brief background so that you can understand so from which subject point of view it is important. And apart from that, you can also understand whether that topic is important from prelims or mains. And I will be also highlighting the points which is important for prelims and as well as mains. So what are the data points that you have to make a note or that you have to recall, so that will be helpful for your long standing memory. So all those things I will be giving you. And one more thing here is we are also going to see Hindu newspaper PDF at last, so that we will be also covering the other articles which are also important from UPSC point of view, because we can't predict UPSC either for prelims and as well as mains, and even from interview point of view also you cannot expect so which question will be asked, right? So for that, you have to be very much thorough with current affairs, and current affairs will become 50 to 60% of your preparation. So please don't ignore this current affairs. So daily try to read Hindu newspaper, and if you are a beginner, you will be facing some difficulty obviously, but you have to start read Hindu newspaper whenever you are starting your preparation. So one thing I can say here is, before reading Hindu, first you have to be familiar with your subject, that is syllabus. So first you have to know the syllabus of UPSC. So which topics are there in GS1, which topics are there in GS2, which topics are there in GS3 and as well as GS4. So that whenever you are going through your newspaper, you can relate which topic is important from which paper point of view. Okay, so that is a thing that you need to be done before reading your newspaper. The first one is you have to by heart the syllabus. Okay, so without wasting any time, so let us see which are the topics that we are going to discuss. So first topic, it is about design education. So many of you know about education. So we have primary education, we have higher education, right? So here this design education is very important for skill development. So why skill development is important in the students? So if you see, yes, many students are completing BTech, and many of you are also from BTech background, right? So after completing the BTech also, the job opportunities are less, and many students, they are not getting the jobs, and many students, they are preparing for other competitive examinations. So what is the reason after completing this BTech, why students are not getting the jobs? Because of lack of skill. So here we have to focus on this design education so that we can focus on skill development in the students. But in India, there is a less focus on design education. So this is the one problem. And here you have to know about origin of this design education. So where exactly design education started in India. So which is the institution, which is a premier institution which is providing this design education. And even you have to know about what the challenges that we are facing in this design education. So this topic is important from your education point of view, especially from your GS paper 2. And this topic is important from your mains. And next topic we are going to discuss is about untangling threads. So this topic that I collected from text and context of today's Hindu. And here there's a probability of getting a question like, so threads or synonyms, so what it is related to. That means you can get either a prelims question or mains question from these threads. And this topic is important from SNT, because this article is also important from polity point of view, because the right to privacy. So we have a right, fundamental right. Okay, so right to privacy. So right to privacy, it is a fundamental right which is decided by Supreme Court in one famous judgment in 2017. That is KS Putteswamy case. So here this threads. So in these threads, we have to also think about this right to privacy. and this topic is important from polity point of view and as well as science and technology point of view. So this is important from your GS paper 3. And next topic is objections overruled, forest bill goes to house unchanged. So recently there are some changes which are mainly proposed or amendments to this Forest Act of 1980, and many people they posed objections, and finally one committee has been set up, and this committee which gave the green signal. So this amendment which is going to be introduced in the monsoon session soon. So because of this, yes, this forest bill is very, very important from your environment and ecology point of view, and even from your polity point of view. And if you are from anthropology background, so in anthropology in paper 2 you will be studying about the tribes, right? So these tribes are the people who are living in the forest. So whenever any amendment which is done to this Forest Rights Act, so that is going to have impact on this tribal people. So from this point of view also this article is important. So especially what you have to think about what are the amendments. So why, what is the need of these amendments now, and also what are the concerns. So these three things you have to think and you have to analyze on these things. And this topic is important from environment and ecology, and also this is important from your mains. And next topic it is about in Varanasi turtles helps clean Ganga, helps to clean the Ganga river. So actually if you are talking about the Ganga river, which comes under which river system? That is Himalayan river system. So in India we have two types of river systems. So first one is Himalayan river system and second one is peninsular river system. So in Himalayan river system we will be having three important rivers. That is first one is Indus, second one is Ganga river, and third one is Brahmaputra river. And this Ganga, it is very, very important because it is flowing towards many states in our country, and it is also the lifeline, I can say. And there are number of tributaries which is joining this river Ganga, right? And let me know what are the tributaries, which are the tributaries of this river Ganga, and especially please comment me like which are the left bank tributaries and as well as right bank tributaries of this river Ganga. Actually river Ganga is one of the most polluted river in India. So here, as you all know that this river Ganga is lifeline. So whenever it is polluted means what happens? So it will be having environmental impacts, it will be having impact on the human health, and even it will be having impact on our economy. So everything will be affected, right? So because of this, government came up with this Clean Ganga project, that is also called as Navami Ganga project. So in this project, so they are not only using the technology, but even they are using these turtles to clean this Ganga. So this article talks about how this turtles helps to clean the river Ganga. And you can also, whenever you are writing any answer regarding, so what is the importance of this wildlife? So there you can add this example like turtles are used in this Navami Ganga project to clean the river Ganga. So you can also quote an example. So in this way, whenever you are seeing articles in newspaper, so you can use them even while you are writing answers, and that will enrich your answer. And this topic is important from your environment and ecology. And next topic it is about economy. So the title says bad loans at record low, but write-off still in the mix. So here you have to know about what are these bad loans, what are these non-performing assets. So here this article which shows about the data. So I collected this article from the data point. So in this data it says that there is decreasing of non-performing assets. And here you have to see what are the reasons for the decreasing of this non-performing assets. And this topic is important from your economy point of view, which comes in the GS paper 3. And especially, so there are a number of times questions which asked in the prelims regarding non-performing assets. Like what is the definition? So which comes under which category? So that is very important. Okay, so you have to work on that. And next topic it is about landslide or landslip. So especially now you're seeing there is a heavy rains in northern part of our country, that is northern India. So because of this heavy rainfall, so what happened, there is increased landslips. So because of this landslips or landslide, so that led to increasing of death toll. So here you have to know about why North India is prone to landslides. The first and the foremost thing here is why North India is prone to landslide and what exactly landslide is, and you have to see different types of landslides and which are the vulnerable areas in our country which are prone to landslides. So this topic is overall important from your geography point of view and environment and ecology point of view, and as well as from your disaster management point of view. So the disaster management, we will be identifying the vulnerable areas, and there we have to see pre-disaster steps, disaster, what are the steps taken during the disaster, and post-disaster steps. So each and every topic, it is not a single topic, it is even connected with the other subjects as well. So because of this, yes, you have to focus and you have to improve your maturity levels to connect one topic with different subjects. Then only you can write a good and better answer. And next topic, it is about the report highlights impact of pandemic on education. So yes, will you agree whether the pandemic has impact on education? Yes, of course, I will agree with 100% that yes, pandemic had impact on education. And there are a number of reports like ASA report by Pratham Institute which also says that yes, there is impact of pandemic on education. And now here Education Ministry came up with a report, and this report says that yes, pandemic has negative impact on education. So this data, which is very important. So why we have to see the different indices or different reports? Because of this reports and what are the data which is given by this reports, that will be helpful to analyze what are the shortfalls. So what are the gaps that are present and which kind of the steps that can be taken. Okay, so you have to think about the way forward, because you're going to be the future bureaucrat, right? So as a future bureaucrat, you have to analyze the problems from now onwards. So if you are in that situation, so what are the steps that you're going to do? So from now onwards, try to think as a bureaucrat. Okay, so this is a small introduction regarding the topics. So now let us see the first topic, that is about the design education. So the image that you can see here is you're designing something, right? So design education in India, its origin, challenges and opportunities. So this is very important topic because we are not focusing much on design education. So we are lagging behind. But if you are comparing with other countries, you are moving forward than India. So now let us try to see what is the context. Context here is, so this article says that there is a large shortfall of designers. So there is a large shortfall of designers, and it is estimated that our country produces only one design graduate for every 1,000 engineers. So every year 1,000 engineers are coming out. So coming out and the new batches are starting. But if you see this design graduates or design education, only one graduate is coming out for every 1,000 engineers. So now you can understand, so we are not focusing, right? So you're not focusing on this design education. So this design appears to be becoming more popular now. Okay, so now this education which is mainly happening and everyone is knowing now, and there is increasing of awareness, but only small number of institutions offering this design education. So even though many students, they want to enroll in this design education, but now the problem here is there are less number of institutes which are providing the training for this design education. So here the problem is, the first one is shortage of designers. And if you see the data, one design graduate for every 1,000 engineers, and there are less number of institutions which are providing this design education. So now let us try to understand first, what is this design education? So what is the thing that is going to happen in this design education? So design education is nothing but the teaching of a theory, and not only teaching of theory, but they are also focusing on this application part. Application, the design of products, services, and we're also focusing on environment and development of both particular and as well as general skills. So we are focusing on skill development. So why we have to focus on this design engineering? So what is the importance? So if you understand the importance, then only we are going to focus on that, right? So importance here is nothing but, so this design education, it will provide a framework. So it will provide a framework for the students to practice soft skills. So we are going to practice soft skills, design critiques, student presentations. We are focusing on team projects and deadlines are all the opportunities for a student to improve their skills. So these are all the opportunities that are present now. So if you're talking about origin or the history of this design education in India, so if you're talking about the formal modern education, yes, we had started this formal modern education, but until 2000s onwards, so there are very few institutions, they are offering undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in this design education. And first and the foremost premier institutes that started providing this design education is National Institute of Design, okay, that is NID in Ahmedabad. And next one is Tristty, which founded in 1996 also. It is one of the first private design school. And if you're talking about the demand for this design education, so we can see there is a very weak demand. So here, according to this Aisha reports, that is All India Survey of Higher Education reports, in 2011 to 2012, it said that about 3,385 students enrolled under this undergraduate education. And out of this, 942 degrees they were awarded. And in year 2020 to 2021, the number has been jumped to 40,500. And if you're talking about the private universities, so they are racing ahead when we are comparing with these public institutes. And if you're talking about the problem in this design education, so what are the challenges? So first and the foremost thing here is there is no proper funding, right? So even the secondary education, higher education also, there is very less funding. So in this design education, yes, there is a very low funding. And even whatever the funds are present, these funds have been underutilized. And there is also underutilization of available designer. So because of this, yes, there is a variance or the difference is seen in the demand and supply. Okay, and one more important problem here is there is poor or lack of training in this design education. So this is about this topic and I hope you understand this. And next one, it is about untangling threads. So here I think you might be knowing about Instagram, Facebook. So you will be using social media platforms, right? So there is no one in this present generation who are not knowing about this Insta or Facebook, etc., right? So here Meta came up with a latest app. Okay, so we have to know about that latest app. So here you have to know about what is this threads, and you have to understand how these threads will work, because you will be using this social media platforms like Facebook, Insta, WhatsApp, etc., right? So you have to be careful regarding this using of the social media platforms. Okay, so if we're talking about this threads, which is launched by Facebook, Instagram, and as well as WhatsApp parent Meta. So when it came up on July 5th. And what is this threads exactly? So this threads, it is a text-based public conversation app. So what is this? It is a text-based public conversation app, and this app which built by the team behind the photo sharing app Instagram. So it can be used in both iOS, that is in Apple phones, and as well as Android phones, and it has been using in over 100 countries. So 100 countries they have access to this app. This week about 100 countries they are going to have this access. And now you have to understand how these threads will work. So threads, it is nothing but it is a part of users Instagram account. So threads users, they will need to sign up through Instagram first, and they can cross over with their original username and as well as accounts they were following on the Instagram. And later on, so a number of settings such as blocking is there and restricting users is there, hiding the words or synced between the two platforms. So if you're talking about the features, so we have some features like blocking, we have the features like restricting the users, and we can also hide the words. So here if you're not liking these threads, they can only deactivate the account. So deleting threads means nothing but it is deleting the Instagram account. So if we're talking about what are the issues, that is the challenges. So according to the Google Play Store, it says that these threads, it will collect data. Which kind of data? That may be the personal information also. For example, like it will be collecting the data like your name, address, phone number, etc. And it will be not only collecting the personal information but even financial information, health and as well as fitness, messages, photos, videos, files, documents, calendar events, etc. So all these things will be collected. Okay, so because of this, right to privacy is there here. So as you all know that in this case, Puttaswamy case, Supreme Court declared right to privacy is also fundamental right which comes under Article 21 of our Constitution. So we have to think this as well. So I want to give you one homework, that is, so please let me know what are the issues and as well as what is the way forward. Okay, so from the next video onwards, I will be trying to include previous prelims questions, so from that topic, and as well as mains questions also. So if time permits, I will be also giving you the mains practice questions. So please give me the suggestions in the comment box. And now let us see the next topic. It is about objections overruled. Forest bill goes to House unchanged. So there are amendments which are proposed to this Forest Act, and many people, they came up with some objections, and finally here 31-member committee was placed, and this committee gave green signal for this amendment, and it is going to be introduced soon in our house, that is in the parliament. So now let us try to see the context. So parliamentary committee set up to examine the controversial proposed amendments to Forest Conservation Act of 1980. And finally, parliamentary committee gave the signal for this bill. So here you have to see one thing, that is parliamentary committees. So which are the parliamentary committees? And you have to see different types of parliamentary committees and why these parliamentary committees will be established. So what is the role of these parliamentary committees? So you have to see, and this thing is really given in your Lakshmikant book. So open your Lakshmikant and go through this chapter of parliamentary committees. And if you see the details, it says that a draft copy of report, and this report prepared by 31-member Joint Committee on Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023. And this bill, it is going to be placed in our parliament in the upcoming monsoon session. Okay, so if you're talking about the sessions, so we have 3 sessions, that is budget session, monsoon session, and as well as winter session. So let me know the time period of the budget session, monsoon session, as well as winter session in the comment box. So try to give the answer so that will be helpful for long-standing memory. And next one is this bill which seeks to amend pivotal 1980 law which was enacted to ensure the India's forest land, and it is not only used for the non-forestry purposes. So here this bill which is talking about amendments to Forest Conservation Act of 1980, and this act which is giving the power to central government to require that any forest land diverted for non-forestry purposes. So now let us try to see what are the key features, like which are the restrictions of activities in the forest. So if you see earlier, this Forest Act of 1980 talks about the restrictions. So now let us try to see what are the changes that we are going to see with this amendment. So first one here is, according to this Forest Act of 1980, which restricts the de-reservation of forest or use of forest land for non-forest purposes. It restricts, okay, it restricts the use of the forest land for the non-forest purposes. Especially it will restrict, it is restricting like some activities for the conservation, management and development of forest and wildlife. Okay, so it will be excluded from non-forest purposes. But this bill adds more activities like zoos, safaris under this Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, and is also restricting ecotourism facilities and silviculture operations. Okay, and if you're talking about the categories of land which are exempted under this amendments here is the first one is, so forest land along a rail lane or a public road which maintained by the government is exempted, and the land which is situated within 100 kilometers along international borders is also exempted, and the land up to 10 hectares proposed to be used for constructing security related infrastructure which is also exempted. And if you're talking about for whom the power is given, the power is given to obviously central government. So why? What is the need of this amendments? So first one here is we need to build carbon stock, forest carbon stock. So we have to increase the plantations. So why? Why? Because now we are facing a threat of climate change. So in this climate change, so we came up with some commitments. Like here our government said that we are going to achieve carbon neutrality by 2070. So to achieve this, yes, we have to improve the forest cover. So this is the first and the foremost reason. And next one here is to make land available for the developers to meet their legal obligations, especially so we have compensatory afforestation. So what is this concept of this compensatory afforestation? Especially for the beginners, I want to say this. For example, if you are coming up with a development project, for example, so government want to come up with a road facility or for example rail facility in this so and so forest. So whenever government is saying that we are going to have this project, so it will be helpful for the development of our country, yes, we have to compromise on environment. So for example, if you are going for cutting down of trees, and that trees they have to be planted in the another area, so this concept is called as compensatory afforestation. And next one here is, so we have to achieve some objectives like restricting the applicability of this Forest Conservation Act, and even we have to free up the land which is present in the unrecorded forest. So these are the some important reasons why we came up with these amendments now. So now we have to focus on even concerns. So number of many environmentalist activists are coming up with some concerns. So what are they? So first one is, if the scope of this Forest Conservation Act is restricted, so fewer projects will be required to obtain forest clearance. So whenever only fewer projects they are required to obtain this forest clearance, means what happens? So there will be not focusing on compensatory afforestation. So what is the reason that they came up with amendments? That is, they have to focus on compensatory afforestation, but only whenever a limited projects they are getting the clearance, means so only that limited projects they will be going for compensatory afforestation, but not all. So the stated objective will not be achieved. And next one is, conservationists see that this is a double whammy. That means losing unrecorded forest to plantations. That means we are going for diverting of the forest for the projects. So this is the second important concern. And the third one here is, the proposed exemptions leave a lot to center to decide retrospectively. So this is also an important concern. And next one is, though the bill keeps up with the dynamic changes in the ecology, strategic and economic aspirations, and improvement in the livelihood of the tribals and as well as forest dwellers, it boils down to pushing plantations to achieve carbon neutrality. So actually this bill or this amendments which are coming up with some dynamic changes in ecology and as well as strategy and as well as economic aspirations. So it will be not focusing much on this carbon neutrality. So this is also one important cause of concern. And now let us see the next topic. It is about Clean Ganga project. So title says, in Varanasi, turtles help clean the Ganga. So here you have to focus on the Ganga river, you have to see the tributaries, and you have to see the meeting of two different rivers, which is seen in this flow of Ganga in the different states. And you have to see in which states this river Ganga is flowing, and which state, which tributary is coming and joining the river Ganga, and which is that meeting point is called as. We have Vishnu Prayag, Dev Prayag, etc. Right? So you have to see that. And now let's try to see this topic. So like what exactly this article want to say. So under this Navami Gange program, so large scale human efforts have been undertaken since 2014. So since 2014 onwards, the government which is focusing on cleaning the river Ganga, and the government want to rejuvenate this river Ganga. So this river Ganga, it is about 2600 kilometer river network. So now in this project we are also using this marine life. So in this marine life especially they are using turtles. So turtles are playing a key role in cleaning this river Ganga. So if you see or if you go into the details of this article, it says that in this project, Wildlife Institute of India and Ministry of Forest, which came up using this turtles in this Namami Gange project. And here you have to see which is the implementing agency as well. So this implementing agency is very important. So in Wildlife Institute of India and the Ministry of Forest, we joined the hands with National Mission for Clean Ganga. It is one of the implementing agency of this Namami Gange project. And from 2017 onwards, they are using turtle, or they are focusing on turtle breeding for this cleaning of river Ganga. So actually there are about 29 turtle species in India. So they are both herbivores and as well as carnivores. So they are helping to clean this river Ganga. So you may ask me a question like, so how these turtles are used? Because wherever it is herbivores or carnivores, so they will be feeding on this rotten or half burnt human bodies. So if these turtles are carnivores, so they are feeding on this half burnt human bodies. So I want to say one interesting thing here. So actually especially in this pilgrimage sites which are present on the banks of this river Ganga, so in that area, especially in the Varanasi, so your dead bodies will be half burnt and that half burnt bodies will be thrown in this river Ganga. So it is one important reason for the pollution in this river Ganga along this pilgrimage site called as Varanasi. So apart from that, so I want to know which are the important pollutants seen in this river Ganga. So please let me know in the comment box. So please do some research, so you will be getting to know some interesting facts also. So actually here under 1980s itself, the Ganga Action Plan was set up, and under this about 40,000 turtles they were released into this river. And from that time onwards, so we are seeing that there is improving the quality of the river Ganga, because they are feeding on the waste and also they are feeding on the dead bodies and whatever the puja things, ingredients are there, so that will be fed up by these herbivores like flowers, leaves, etc. So now let's see some facts regarding this National Mission for Clean Ganga. So this National Mission for Clean Ganga was registered as a society in 2011 under Societies Registration Act of 1860. And it acted as an implementation arm of National Ganga River Basin Authority, and which mainly comes under the provision of Environment Protection Act of 1986. Okay, so here you have to know which are the important pillars of this Namami Gange program. So first one is we have to focus on sewage treatment, because this sewage, that is nothing but the drainage, will be released directly into the river without any treatment. And this one is river surface cleaning. So what are the waste that is throwing in this pilgrimage site that will be floating on this river? For example, plastic. So this can be easily removed. And this one is afforestation. So we have to go for afforestation, that is planting of trees. And this one is industrial effluent monitoring. So along this course of river Ganga, so we have different industries, they are releasing the waste directly into this river. So this is also one of the major cause for the pollution. And this one is riverfront development. They're focusing on biodiversity. So one important fact that I have to say here is dolphins. So because of increasing of pollutants in this river Ganga, there is decreased the number of dolphins is seen, and after seeing there is improvement in the river water of Ganga, yes, now we can see there is increased number of dolphins. And this one is we have to focus on awareness also. Awareness is very important, because finally the people, they are throwing the waste into this river Ganga, right? So first we need to educate these people who are throwing the waste. And next one is Ganga Gram. So these were one of the main pillars of this Namami Gange program. So what can be done? So what are the steps that can be taken to revive river Ganga? So these 10 steps are very important, and if you have time, so you can take a screenshot or else you can make a note in your notes. So first one is we have to focus on sewage treatment plants. So we have to bring back the glory to all natural drains, that empty into the river. So not only the main river should be cleaned, but even the tributaries which are joining also we have to focus on them as well. And we have to map the entire looped length of each and every tributaries. And in the sewage treatment plants, so we have to verify the efficacy, we have to focus on reliability, and we have to focus on how we can improve the technology. We have to identify and define the project river corridors, and we have to restore the base flow through groundwater recharge. So we can also focus on this groundwater recharge, and we have to focus on evolving of new and innovative ways to generate sufficient revenues. And we have to focus on developing and restoring the local storages like ponds, tanks, lakes, and wetlands nearby. And we have to start restoring the lower older streams and as well as small tributaries. And we have to define the desired ecological, that is a flow regimes. That means we have to focus on regimes as well. So these are some important critical steps that we can take for the revival of river Ganga. And next topic is about bad loans and at record low. So now we can see, especially from 2015 onwards, there is decreasing of NPAs. So this is the article, and if you see this graphs here, so you can understand the data. And this type of graphs and as well as this type of representation that you can use in your mains to improve your marks. So now let us see the context. It says that non-performing assets of Indian banks are at lowest levels. So from 2015 onwards, it is decreasing of this non-performing assets. So if you see the details, it says that just 4 years ago, Indian banks non-performing assets ratio was worst. So here it is talking about NPA ratio. NPA ratio was worst if you are talking about before 4 years, and from 2015 onwards, yes, there is a somewhat decreasing. And if you see here, a loan turns bad or becomes an NPA if it's overdue for 90 days. That means if I'm a person, I'm going to the bank, and from the bank I'm getting loan, but for next 90 days I'm not paying any interest or any principal amount. So this account will be a non-performing asset. So in the second quarter of 2019, NPA ratio of Indian banks, it is about 9.2%. So here we have NPA ratio of Indian banks is 9.2%, and almost 1 in 10 loans have turned bad. And between this 2016 and 2019, NPA ratio which remained high, and later on from 2019 onwards, we can say there is a decreasing of this NPAs. And what might be the reasons? The first important reason which quoted in this article here is because of efficiency of insolvency and bankruptcy code, that is IBC code. So IBC code which helped to recover the sick loans. And the second reason which quoted here is, so banks stopped lending the big money to industries. So whenever banks are giving the loans for industries and as well as infrastructure projects, so they will end up as bad loans or NPAs. So now let us try to see what exactly this NPAs is, that is non-performing asset. So in most cases, the debt is classified as non-performing, means nothing but the loan has not been paid for the period of 90 days. And what is this twin balance sheet crisis? So this twin balance sheet, it is a scenario where banks, they are under severe stress and the corporates are overlapped to extent that they cannot repay the loans. So here the people who took the loans, they are not in a situation to repay their loans. So this is called as twin balance sheet crisis. And if you're talking about bad loan, so bad loan is nothing but it's serviced for a certain period. It is not serviced. That means the loan has not been paid, or for example any interest, or for example any principal for a long period. So servicing of a loan is nothing but there is no paying back of interest or even a small part of the principal depending on the agreement between bank and borrower. So now let us see the next topic. It is about landslide or landslip. So 16 killed as heavy rain triggers landslips floods in North India. So this article is important from geography and as well as environment and ecology, as I said, and even disaster management point of view. So if we're talking about context, so there is torrential rainfalls that are seen in northern part of our country, that is for example in Himachal Pradesh, Delhi, etc. So because of that, the critical infrastructure like roads and as well as railways, etc., and even other infrastructure had been damaged because of this torrential rainfalls, and because of this number of people they had been died. So what is a landslide? Landslide is nothing but the movement of mass of rocks or rubbles or dust down the slope. So if it is a slope, so the slope, so there is a falling down. So it is because of primarily, that is gravity. Gravity is the important reason for this landslides. So landslides are particularly dangerous in the areas with the steep slopes. For example, in hilly regions, and as well as we can see there are different types of landslides. The first one is falls, second one is topples, slides and spread. So this part is very important for your prelims. Okay, so falls means nothing but falls occur when a mass of geologic materials, for example rocks, boulders, they become dislodged from steep slopes or cliff. They move abruptly. And topples means this occurs when a unit or units, they rotate forward, round at a crucial point, and it is also because of gravity. And next one is slides. So slides means nothing but rocks, debris or soil slides through slope forming materials. And spread means it is frequently happening on level ground or relatively gradual slopes. So these are the different types of landslides. And here you have to identify landslide prone areas in India. So this topic is very important from your disaster management. So we're talking about the landslides in India. Approximately 15% of our country territory is prone to landslide, especially northwest and as well as northeast and even Western Ghats. They are of high risk. So in Western Ghats means Kerala is one of the state which is high prone to this landslide, and especially Kerala, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Manipur. So these areas, yes, high risk of landslide is seen. So you can also make a note of this image. So this area and this area is highly prone to this landslide in India. So what might be the causes? So if you're talking about causes, so we can divide the causes into natural causes and as well as anthropological causes. So natural causes means nothing but because of earthquakes, because of excessive rainfall. So whenever there is excessive rainfall, so the soil which is present in that area, that will get saturated with the water loosens, and what happens? So it will come down. And next, anthropological causes because of infrastructure development. For example, when you are going for creation of roads, creation of railways, dams, etc. So it will lead into the landslides. And mining is also an important reason, deforestation and unsustainable tourism. So these were some important causes. And next one is about the report which highlights impact of pandemic on education. So this data is very important and you have to see which organization releasing this report. So from this point of view also you can get a prelims question. So context says that the pandemic led to a decline in educational performance of many districts in the country. So this report released by Ministry of Education. So this report is called as Performance Grading Index for districts. So this report released by Ministry, and it is a combined report for 2020 to 2021 and as well as 2021 to 2022. So this report which assesses performance of school education system at the district level. So here it says that there are 10 grades. So first highest grade is Daksh, second one is Utkarsh, third one is Ati Uttam, Prachesta, Prachesta 2, Prachesta 3. Next one is Akanshi 1, Akanshi 2 and Akanshi 3. Akanshi 3 is the least and the best is Daksh. Okay, so there is no need of remembering this. So UPSC will not be asking question from this area. And next one is here none of the districts got this Daksh status. And why we need this type of indices? So indices is very important. So it is mainly giving the details, so that based on that details, your state education departments, they will be identifying which are the gaps they have at the district level, and based on that gaps they will have a chance to improve their performance. And this will be also helpful to take the new steps or initiatives. Okay, so there are about 600 points and there are about 83 indicators under 6 categories. So which are those categories? The first one is outcome, second one is efficient or effective classroom transition, infrastructure, student entitlements, school safety and child protection, digital learning, and governance processes. So these are the 6 categories, and we are also having the 12 domains that you can see in the PDF. Okay, so this is about this topic. And if you want to get this PDF of this class, so you can join the Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box, and you can get this PDF for free in the Telegram channel itself. And now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So I will be also showing the today's paper PDF, so that you can get an idea like which topic that we discussed and which topics that you have to work. Okay, so this is our today's Hindu newspaper PDF, and date is 10th July and today is Monday, and this is daily edition that I am showing you. So first topic I said about this forest bill, and second one is about repolling in 600 booths in West Bengal. So here you have to see what is this repolling. So what are the reasons for this repolling? So reasons is very important, and especially from polity point of view, elections and election reforms. So that is one of the favorite topic of UPSC. So here, if you are from West Bengal, so you have to prepare for this topic. Okay, and if you move on to the city page, there is nothing much important. Here you can see 12-year-old killed by stray dogs in Rajasthan's Bundi, and the students who are going to write this year means, so there will be a case study regarding the stray dogs. So if you are a municipal commissioner, so how can you address this issue? So there will be a case study, so please be prepared with that. And if you move on to the states page, here you can see this article regarding the turtles. Okay, in Varanasi, turtles helps clean the Ganga. And if you move on, in this editorial page, you can see here there is a word called as defamation. You have to see what is defamation. And here this article is talking about FCI. Okay, that is a scheme. FCI is nothing but this Food Corporation of India. So here this article is talking about Annabhagya scheme. So it is one of the election promises which is made by the Congress party in Karnataka assembly elections, and finally Congress party came into power in Karnataka. So if you are from Karnataka, you can see about what is this Annabhagya scheme. So if you are not from Karnataka, it is not much important. And here this article is important, that is World Trade Organization. So already this video has been very much lengthy, so if time permits, in the tomorrow class I will be discussing about this topic. And you have to know about what is this ruble. Ruble is the currency of Russia, that's it. And I discussed this topic regarding the blood loans, and in this textual context I discussed about this threats topic also, and I discussed about this design education in India. So in this news page you can see this article regarding personal law. So actually we are talking about UCC, that is Uniform Civil Code. So as an UPSC aspirant, you have to know what is this UCC and in which part of our constitution it talks about UCC, and as well as you have to know about so what are the advantages and disadvantages if you are coming up with UCC. And next one is Supreme Court Collegium. So always this will be in news, so you have to know about this collegium. And in this page number 12 you can see this article regarding landslides I discussed, and I discussed this topic regarding impact of pandemic on education. And if you go to the last page, that is science page, in this science page, that is page number 11, so here you can see global tropical primary forest cover continue to decline into 2022. So actually here if you see the gist, it says that global deforestation has to be reduced by at least 10%. Deforestation has to be reduced at least by 10% every year. So actually if you want to meet the target of 2030, so we have to decrease the global deforestation, but on the other side we are seeing there is increasing of deforestation. especially Brazil and Democratic Republic of Congo. They are the two countries with much forest cover, and they both registered loss of this resource in 2022. And even in Ghana, Bolivia, they're also seen there is a rapid decreasing of primary forest cover. And even if you see the data which is according to Global Forest Watch, which says that India lost 43.9 thousand hectares of humid primary forest between 2021 to 2022. It is a very sad news that I can say. So at least know about this data and try to make a note of this data. So first you have to know about what is primary forest. So primary forest are nothing but mature natural forest that had been remained undisturbed in the recent history. That is called as primary forest. Okay. So this is about today's Hindu analysis. So if you really like this analysis, so please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to Rathod's IS Academy and refer this channel to your friends also. So you can also share this video in the other Telegram groups or WhatsApp groups so that it will be helpful for the other students as well. So while I'm concluding, thank you so much, and we will be meeting in the next class.